Look, 2 coffees a day, let's say $10 for argument's sake, 365, that's $3,600 odd. It's huge. Now you're wasting that when you could be getting that, putting it into an asset that's making money for you.
How much in debt?
About 30 odd thousand.
And how does it feel not to have any debt anymore, just about?
I think that's the biggest thing, is excited. Money is not bad. It's not evil. It's a mechanism that you can use to lead or do what you want to do in life.
What core important lessons did you learn and implement to turn things around?
Got to learn.
I'm Lloyd James Ross, 7-figure investor and entrepreneur, and I've helped thousands of business owners and professionals turn financial stress into success. If you're stuck in old money habits, overwhelmed by investing, or unsure where to start, this is for you. I'll give you the mindset and strategies to take control, grow your wealth, and achieve financial freedom. It's time to make your money work for you.
Welcome to this special episode of the Money Grows on Trees podcast. I've got another amazing guest in here, and if you haven't seen the last couple of episodes, we've been doing some interviews, not just some interviews, but very important interviews of some of our students who have come through our mentorship program and have read our books, Money Buys Happiness, Become Time Rich, Money Grows on Trees. And I wanted to showcase some of their incredible, real, everyday, real life stories of money transformation. And this guest is one of our elite students as well. He's come through our core mentorship programs. He's participated in our events. He's really immersed himself in our entire money education experience. And I've been excited and dying to get him on the show. We did an event together last night, which is great. He's just such a great guy, all around likable, lovely guy. He's been a big part of the community. He's very encouraging. He helps out. And he's come from not that. In fact, you're going to learn from the episode. We're going to dive deep into it with him. From in fact, the opposite, to where he is now in such a short time frame. I'm very excited to welcome my friend Cole to the show. What's up, man?
Oh, how good is this?
This is good.
Wow, I love it.
Look how far you come.
Oh, it's been huge. Absolutely huge for me.
Yeah. I'm excited to dive into it.
Compared to where I was 2.5 years ago. Yeah.
2.5 years. Has it been 2.5 years?
Yeah, it certainly has.
Where's time go when you're having so much fun?
That's very much so.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah.
It's actually a bit surreal for me to think too that we're sitting here in the studio together 2.5 years later, because I remember our very first discovery call together in one of our core programs, the 5 Steps to Millions, which is our money program off the back of the Money Buys Happiness book. And I got to tell you, I didn't think we'd get to this.
Not at all.
I did. I never thought, I'm going to have Cole on the show, we're going to be in the studio, and you're going to have all these amazing successes you've had. But before we do that, I do want the audience to hear your story and the incredible breakthroughs you've had. And I want to start it before, right? So can you take us back before we met? What was going on with you and your money?
Life was tough. And I wouldn't say tough in the regards of, being out in the street and homeless and things like that. It's a self-perceived toughness on yourself. But money wasn't actually great. Life changed, 10, 13 years ago. As a result of that...
What changed in your life? What was the life change?
Unfortunately, I went through a divorce, and it was a bit of a shock to the system. It didn't leave me in a good place. Not only that, I gave up the house because I could keep my super, and it was sort of a win-win, because if we sold the house, by the time I worked that out, the amount of super I had, I probably would have had to take a loan out for $110,000 to pay up to make it even. So it was, for me, in all honesty, it was about my boys, and I gave up the house, which was the asset. Yes, we still had money involved with that, but the big thing was, one, I had to look after my boys. That was my first priority. Secondly, it was then, I'll work the rest out later to see what happens, So, yeah, life wasn't great. And as a result, once I moved out, half of my money went in rent that I was earning each month.
Yep.
Half of what was left over went in child support for one child, which stung. I have no problems in doing it, but it stung something bad. And unfortunately, part of that was I had to do something, so I went to the gym. I started buying some camera equipment, and I was doing this and I was doing that. And of course, I didn't have the money to do it, but I had to keep my mental side of things busy. And of course, I didn't really pay attention, and the money went up a little bit. Then I had to move rentals because that was being sold. Then on top of that, it was again another rental I had to move. And of course, I didn't have the money for the bond. So what do? Oh, I just go to the bank and borrow more money, you know. And it was a never-ending spiral for me. And I was a bit of an angry ant at times because of it all. And then from there, after that, what I ended up doing was going, you know what, I've got to get out of Sydney. I've got to get out of this place and away from this.
Yeah.
Went down to Melbourne. And of course, to travel and move, I needed more money. So I redid my loan again. I think I probably got up, probably 28, 30 something. I lost count in the end, in debt. And that was
How much in debt?
about 30 odd thousand in debt, that I'd come from nothing to 30 odd thousand. We'll go with the rough figures. I don't know the exact. Went down to Melbourne, and that was April of 2018.
Yeah.
Where that was. And then it was just settle in, try and find something and just pay it off. And I was in that cycle, you know. I was never going to get out of it. I'm aging, you know, I'm not getting any younger, but it's, I feel young, but yeah, not getting any younger.
So you're in that position where you had your job.
Yes.
And in IT.
Correct.
And, you've been divorced, so you lost some of the assets, or you split the assets, I should say. And you'd accumulated debt. So rather than make more money, you wanted to travel, you just put it on the credit card. Was it credit card debt?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, part of it was credit card. Probably about 25 was about in a loan.
Okay. And so how...
Which was variable too, by the way, sorry,
Right.
because that's a higher interest rate.
What did it... To have $30,000 worth of debt, even if it's personal loan, credit card debt, what was going on in your head and in your heart? Like, where were you at?
I'm going to say something here. As I was getting older, I just kept getting to the point that I was scared. And when I say scared, because I was getting closer to retirement, and that was, in those days, that's all I was looking at was just retirement. Am I going to have enough money? When am I going to get out of this? Why can't I be like other people? And I was absolutely shit scared of getting to the point of retiring, not being able to afford enough money for food. And you hear some of these stories about pensioners eating dog food, and that scared the crap out of me. And it was a pressure that I had on myself with everything else that went on, and it's trying to find a new lifestyle, and it's just the whole lot. And you just go, seriously, is this what life is about?
So you felt like you were a bit on a hamster wheel.
Yeah,
A dead
very
hamster
much
wheel.
so. It was just, and a lot of that was derived, you know, with my upbringing with my parents, because they worked hard and they never had much money, and I was in the same cycle. And I'm going, how the hell can't I break out of this?
Right. So you didn't feel like there was a breakout?
No.
Okay.
No, I thought I was caught in a downward spiral.
And what was the moment that, was there an event or something that where you were wanting or open to change?
I think when we went through COVID, I managed to actually, because obviously couldn't go out and spend, not that clicked in my brain at that particular point, because if you don't spend, you might, hang on, you know, and that's part and parcel of looking at your bucket, which obviously we'll talk about shortly. But in relation to that is I was saving money. I managed to get my loan paid down to and in advance to the point of being, I think, about $2 or $3 grand.
Yeah.
But what was the next step? What did I need to do next so that I didn't have to eat that dog food?
There you go. The dog food is motivating you at this point. You're not eating it, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay,
not
great.
not a big lover of power.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that to anyone. That's a good motivator.
Oh,
All right.
very much so.
So Cole's back there before we met. And then what happened? So you're having these thoughts about, well, what do I do now, right? How do I move past this? How do I pay off the rest of my debt? How do I, like what you said, like what are the next steps for me? So what happened then?
So because I knew I was getting close to paying off my debt, I thought, brilliant. Part of that also was the fact that at age 55, I could end up with a military pension with superannuation, which has some different rules compared to civilian street. Now, what I didn't realise at the time, that had some implications, but you know what, that negative has turned into a massive positive. So I was getting extra money from that, which was helping pay down. But I got to a point was, what do I need to do to make extra money? How do I go that next step? So I started looking for books and advice, YouTube, you name it. So I started with Barefoot Investor. Started reading that, trying to glean information. I then went and found a book called The $1,000 Project, where you make 1,000, invest it, do this, do that. And then I came across this little ad that kept popping up every now and then at Facebook. And you know where we're going with this. Money buys happiness. And so I thought, oh, what have I got to lose? It's only $9 odd, a couple of coffees, as you rightly put it at times.
Couple of coffees,
So I went and bought it and read through it. That helped. And I thought, I could work the rest out for myself. And then I kept getting these follow-up phone calls. Not phone calls, actually, sorry, emails about the coaching calls. So I thought, that's... And I think in probably some of the other podcasts which I've seen is scams. And I was very much in that same ilk. I thought, I don't want to be spending any more money at the moment. And so I ignored them. And I think they popped up probably a couple of months later. The reminders started to come back through again. And I thought, oh, my God, here we go again. Well, what have I got to lose? Seriously, what? So I took the coaching calls and, well, the rest is history.
Well, we did have a talk in the car on the way here, and it wasn't so smooth.
Well, no, I was trying to stay away from
No, let's go deep. We're going to help, because, I mean, this is really like, because, you know, you surrendered. You're in debt. You wanted to make extra money. You wanted to get out of debt. And I know you wanted to learn some other things, and you were scared about eating the dog food.
Oh, very much so.
The power dog food. If you didn't get your retirement, you didn't want to live on the street and eat dog food.
Just quickly, if you're ready to take control of your finances but feel stuck on where to start, I have a solution. My book, Money Buys Happiness, simplifies investing and wealth building with practical steps to help you achieve financial peace. Get your copy via the link in the show notes, and let's get your money working for you. Now back to the episode.
When you grabbed the book and you read it, you think you said to me in the car today, you said, I really thought I could just figure it out myself from there. And without a doubt, you can implement certain things. But when you grabbed, because with the book, you get 2 complimentary coaching sessions with our team, right? So you took them on board.
Yes.
Now, what was gone on your head when you were doing that, and what prompted you to start?
I think it was doing the audit, which is a big thing. And that's something obviously we'll talk about shortly as well.
Let's talk about it now. So you did this audit with the coach.
So I did the audit, and you could see a few holes as probably, sink the old ship and all the rest of it. But I didn't fully 100% realise what to do next in relation to that. And so it was a bit of an eye-opener. But then it was a case of, well, what else do I do? And I think that's where that initial audit sort of showed up a few things for me.
Yeah. So the first call helped you identify the holes and the gaps.
Very much so.
And then what prompted you to actually start?
Well, that second call was an interesting one. Because the mentorship, it does take a bit of money. Sometimes you have to invest money to make money.
Sometimes or always?
Well, I'm speaking from the context of what I was like at that time.
Sure.
And certainly since then, I've learnt that that's not necessarily the case. But it was one of those things that when I thought, what have I got to lose? Seriously? I've been through a lot in my life at the moment, and it's time for me to actually start doing something, and taking action. And but taking that action and making that payment wasn't one of the easiest things, because here I am now, all of a sudden, I'd got myself into a reasonable position where I didn't owe much, and I was getting close to no debt.
Yeah.
And it was, guess what I'm doing? I'm suddenly and that call was, how do I put it? I was sweating. It was full of anxiety. I even used the old cliche, as we spoke about earlier, that and it was true in this case. The credit card was actually sitting out in the car. Because I'd paid forward on my loan, majority of it came from that, and that was a cheaper interest rate, which I didn't realise what I was doing at the time until later when we talked about good debt and bad debt. And the remaining amount was on the credit card. And when I finally did it and then got off the call and went, oh, well, that's done.
Yeah, you felt better.
Yeah, it was like a huge, huge relief.
Yeah. Why did you think you had relief?
I finally made a decision.
Right, you made a decision. Yeah.
To do something and actually take that, because it's all well and good saying, hey, I'm going to take action.
Yep.
But you've got to make the decision and actually do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you wrestle with the decision, and it's not an easy one sometimes, is it?
No.
And the tougher the decision, usually the bigger the breakthrough. So you had to have an actual breakthrough then to then even make the decision to back yourself and go.
Yeah. And you don't realise
and
it.
I still remember the first call we did together, because it's almost like you're breaking out in highs. Like, you're all right, mate. Okay, you're gonna die on the fucking call. Like, it's great. Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna be good. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna look after you. You're gonna be in good hands. And 2 years later, we're in the studio and you're here. We, on the car right here, we reminisced about that call.
Yeah.
But then, what steps did you take, and what core important lessons from that day onwards did you learn and implement to turn things around?
So that very first call, I was still full of skepticism at the time, but you've got to learn to open up for guidance. And that's what a lot of it is about guidance, to say, hey, look, these are the things to consider, and, they're tried and true. Because that's that old adage, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And you think you know it all, but you don't. And you've got to follow someone who has, and they've been through it. So as a result of that, you start implementing some of those steps and away you go. So for me, it was taking one little piece at a time. I think the biggest thing was my money rules, and I printed them out and all the rest of it. And one of them was to actually send it as a photo. And you came back to me and you go, you forgot to put in 10% first. And I went, all right. So I've written in the front, pay myself 10% first. Lloyd actually told me to put this one here.
Yes.
And it's still on my door to this day, 2.5 years later. Yeah.
So you set the rules, and one of them was to pay yourself first 10%. What does that mean?
It's because the old adage that we've grown up over time, and from our parents and our past parents, etc., and those stories that they show us without us realising it, is that you work hard, you pay your debts off, and whatever you get left over, boom. Here's something that turns a whole lot, flips it, and says, pay yourself 10% first, and then pay your debts off. And it's like, no, hey, you've got a responsibility. And it's like, it flips the mind something bad. And with that 10%, you can then build your emergency fund. You can then, which is a change in, not mindset, but in the way you think about, instead of the savings, work hard and put savings aside. No, it's an emergency fund. Whatever's left over, you can then start investing. And it's like, holy hell, this is huge. Like, it's so different. And then you start realizing that thing, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes. So you discovered some things you didn't know. Your greatest rule was pay myself 10% first. And tell us how that had an impact on the debt that you had and that you've had in the past, and how you pay that off. Because you've paid off debt as well from that point onwards.
Yeah, certainly. So, and I think just before I joined, I'd also gone into a novated lease for a vehicle,
Right.
which was about 81,000 all up, because my other vehicle was getting close to dying.
Yeah.
But some of the things was, hey, your car depreciating, the fact that you could buy a run around and still have better money flow. You learn these things in hindsight, but it is what it is. But out of all that, what I've been able, I suppose I'll probably be better off reflecting on what I've been able to do in figures, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So since I've started, yes, I was close to $2,000 in debt. I've still got a little bit debt at the moment with the vehicle, but by this time next year, that's entirely paid off.
Yep.
And over that time, I've now got about 17,000 sitting in an emergency fund. I've spent about 20 odd thousand in self-development. I'm getting close to 5 figures for an investment portfolio. What else have I been able to do? It's still expand my camera equipment portfolio as well, and do my business. And that's in 2.5 years, just from managing my money. And that's been the biggest part of it. Yes, and a lot of that's derived from the 10%. Yes, there's other parts in that whole procedure, but where it's really, really worked for me is that 10%.
And how does it feel not to have any debt anymore, just about?
I'm getting frustrated because I'm getting so close. I just want it to happen, and I'm excited about it. I think that's the biggest thing, is excited.
Yeah.
A lot happier, a lot more at peace with about money, and looking towards whatever the future holds.
And I noticed too that over the course of your time doing this, you've become super aware of where your money's going. So now I'll have a conversation with you. And you say, look, I want to go do this and that, but I've decided to go here because this is how I want to manage my money. And you're not emotionally doing it. You're doing it logically and methodically. Would you agree?
Correct. Yeah, very much so.
You are now so aware. Like you even last night at the event, you picked up your phone and you started showing me. You put your whole bank account, like, this is there, that's there, that's there. That's how I was like, awesome, let's get a drink. Like that. I mean, but it's a result of the things you put in place. So you were showing me the fruit from the
my
tree.
labours, yep.
Yes, of your labors from the beginning. So that decision you made, although it was hard, right? And you go to the car and get the wallet and invest the money. And it was an investment in you. And we spoke about this in the car on the way here too. It was like backing yourself, because if it didn't work out, it's about how much you beat yourself up about making another bad decision. And some people are just like, I don't want to make another bad decision because I already don't like myself for all these ones I made.
Yeah, because you don't want to be a failure.
You don't want to be another one. You're like, oh, I don't want to failure again.
Yeah.
So that's probably what was, I dare say, hard for you to make that. Because like, what if it's another bad decision?
Well, yeah, especially given from all my training from a military background as well. You keep repeating, because obviously having some sort of failure out in the field, well, you know what the end result could possibly be.
Yeah, you can die.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you get ingrained as a result of that, plus with everything else. And I think we also talked about the fact that school, where we have tests, and if you fail, well, you're a failure.
Yeah.
And you said in some circumstances that's, like construction, etc., that's probably a good thing.
Yes.
But in general, it's those stories that are imprinted onto us that we don't realise. So when it comes to money, we do the same thing because we just don't want to be a failure with it. So we keep doing, oh, this works. We know it works, but investments and stocks, that's dangerous. We've been taught through indirectly that those stories, that's what and it's not the case at all. It's about having a relationship with your money.
Yeah. So how do you think? So what was the old story you told yourself when it came to money?
I'd never have any. I would be consistently, in debt, and I'd die a poor man.
How did that make you feel when it came to your boys?
Again, I suppose that comes back to. Sorry, they're very special to me, and you don't want to let them down. and it inflicts something about being a man, being proud, being stoic, making sure that you're given them the tools of life. And have you really done that? And so it's challenging.
But now, since learning the game of money and the rules, what's the new story you tell yourself about money?
Money is good. It's how you use it and how, as I said, how you have that relationship with it. Respect it, respect yourself, and don't think that because of the stories that you've been told, directly or indirectly, that money is bad. It's not. It's about what you can do with it and leave a legacy as part of that. It's about, look,
Let me help you. Ready?
There's so many things.
Let me help you. The money story I now tell myself is.
All right. My money story that I tell myself now is that money is not bad. It's not evil. It's a mechanism that you can use to lead or do what you want to do in life. It's also about what else you can leave behind as a legacy and go from there. And that helps you to be able to do that.
And how does it make you feel now as a dad with your boys, with your money knowledge now?
Oh, so much better. That I have been able to show them the way and give them something that they can use later on in life and hopefully be able to teach their kids to break that cycle that we've got in society. And I just wish we could do more of it.
Out of all the things you've learned in the last 2.5 years, and you've also grown in other areas we haven't even tapped on here in this episode.
Yes.
In your self-confidence and so forth. You've opened our rooms at our events. You've taken some, sessions with Sabri Subio in your photography, which Morg's helped you with. You've dressed up and done Facebook Lives as the Joker. You've done all sorts of weird things. You've started your photography business, made money. You're leading people. You're part of our assistants in our mentorship program. You're leading and coaching and teaching others. So you've done so many things. But in the course of the last 2.5 years, what would be one piece of advice you could give the audience if they're somewhere where you were, with being on a debt hamster wheel or not knowing the next steps or worried about their retirement and eating dog food like what you were? What would be your advice to them?
Do your audit. That to me has been the biggest game changer for me, was doing that audit. Not necessarily in the initial one, but when we got into the program, was actually talking about doing your audit month to month on the same day, every day, which I've done for 2.5 years. And you can actually see where your money's going, what's happening. You pull it down, you go, oh, I spent 10 coffees. Oops, shit, hang on, 10 coffees. Why? Hang on. Because, 10 coffee, look, 2 coffees a day, that's $9. Let's say $10 for argument's sake. You do that for, I don't know, not every day of the year. Well, even if we did, 365, that's $3,600 odd. It's huge.
Yeah.
Now, you're wasting that when you could be getting that, putting it into an asset that's making money for you.
Yes.
It's working for you. It's the proper relationship that you've got to have with your money. And it's viewing that lifestyle and that way of things and having a different perspective on money and how it can work for you has been a game changer for me. So now, yes, I've spent a few coffees here because I've been traveling. It's a little bit harder than being able to do it at home. But you do that occasionally. It's a bit of a treat. Good. Now when we get back, we're back into the cycle again.
Yeah.
And you keep pulling that down, back off from here. Or I spent a bit too much this month.
Yep.
I've got to tighten the belt,
Yeah.
get back on track.
So it keeps you on track doing that, yes?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what's happening at all times with your money. You can make intelligent financial decisions because you know what you're dealing with.
Because you've got a path.
Yes, you got a path. But also it sounds to me like you also know when you're off the path.
Yes.
And you've got a mechanism to self-pull back in.
Very much so.
Without me being there.
Yeah.
You know how to do it without me, right?
Yeah,
So you're
certainly.
you're totally in control of your finances without Now you've got the rules to follow. You got your rules still up on your fridge. Where are they? In your bathroom?
No, it's on the back door.
Is it?
Sorry, on the front door.
Yeah.
As I go out each day.
Wow.
And I've got, I think the last one is remember the keys to success, and it actually points to. This is the funny part. Points to the door lock where my keys sit, so that I make sure that I take them, don't lock myself out. But
That's good.
You see it each and every day as soon as you walk out, because it's just keeping that, reinforcing it,
Yeah.
and changing my story and my mindset to something completely new.
Yeah, so every day you're conditioning your mind
Correct.
to approach money that way.
Yeah, in a whole different way to compared to the past.
Yeah, and how do you think that's had an impact on your life?
Oh, it's huge. Just it's so. There's simple steps. There's simple pieces that can have such a massive change in your happiness, how you relate with people. And I mean, having the opportunity, like even joining the elite, because I never thought I'd get to that point either. And I think...
nor did I.
Because there's a couple of little stories if we've got time for that. And the first one was I was talking with Simon and I said, look, if I get invited, I don't think I'm going to go, but that's not going to happen. And then it happened and it was like, oh, shit. And I said, but why did you invite me? Like, I've got nothing. I haven't got a business. I haven't got this and I haven't got that. And you said, it's not about results, it's about attitude. And that has stuck with me so much. It's about attitude. So you've got to have the right attitude. Stick with your money rules, stick with your audit, go through and change what your story was from here and flip it to here.
Yeah, it is about attitude. You got the attitude. You're an action taker. Yeah. Now you're a money maker. But it's the attitude, and you're an elite attitude, cultivator or holder, and all your results are from the actions you've taken. So, man, it's just so good. Like, I'm so excited for you. You're a great dad. Because you looked after yourself first, put your own oxygen mask on.
Yes.
And you can give the wisdom to others. And you're already doing that. I know you're sharing it in life with other people outside your family. And it's so good to see. I'm so glad we're here. From where we started on that first call, I'm so bloody happy. I'm so bloody happy that you showed up for you all the time, all the way to this point. I'm so thrilled. I'm like, thank God that Cole showed up, because I felt for you on that call. I was like, I really want this guy to win,
Yeah.
And you've just gone bang, 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 and you showed up and you've done everything. So I'm super impressed. I'm just so proud of you. I'm excited for you. I'm happy. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
So well done. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom. And where can people find you?
So obviously Facebook. It's just Cole Amos, or Colin Amos actually.
It is
but
Colin Amos.
I'd love to have a beer with Colin. Good song. The other one is, I think that's the second part of that song, actually, second verse. Anyway, sidetrack. The other one is Kangaroo Jack Photo.
Yep. So is that on Instagram?
That's Instagram.
Kangaroo Jack Photos. So if you want some cool photos done, Cole's in that space. Talk to him, reach out to him, but also follow his journey. Because you're blogging all the time, you're doing Facebook Lives, and you'll inspire people too. So go follow Cole. Thanks so much for coming on, mate.
No, my pleasure.
Well
and thank you for asking me.
Well done on everything. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, and we'll do this again.
Yeah,
and follow your journey.
Yeah.
But I hope you've got value from the episode with Cole, and he's hit something in you that will help you change as well, because that's what we want, to change more people when it comes to their money.
Definitely.
So well done, and if you've enjoyed the episode, share this with a friend, because there might be someone out there like Cole in his position and needs to hear the story to be inspired to take that very first step. Hit the subscribe button, share it with a friend, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Money Grows on Trees podcast.
Thanks for listening to Money Grows on Trees. If you enjoyed the episode, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and subscribe to us on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And if you're serious about building wealth, make sure to check out the links in the show notes and follow me on all social media platforms at Lloyd James Ross for more. See you in the next episode.